Welcome to Game Club.
Where we're doing it big like your boy Bougie.
That's ludicrous. Chris took away our headphones, and now I can't cover up my bad hair days. Anyway, we're here to talk about top of the week. Is Mass Effect Andromeda is right around the corner. Chris and myself are longtime Mass Effect fans. Did you jump on board with the first one, or did you come in later in the series?
No, I played from the beginning.
I started with the second one, but of course I went back to the first after I fell in love with the second, and then played through until the third. And but I remember when the third one was about to release, when we were in this part of the season for Mass Effect 3, that people were kind of up in arms because Mass Effect 3 had multiplayer, which was new to the series. And but back then, Chris, how did you feel about that multiplayer news?
I was kind of indifferent, to be honest.
Were you planning on playing it?
I don't know if that I ever did play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
I did. I played a lot of it.
I was so angry at the ending. That was during Halo days too. I was very distracted with Halo multiplayer.
Yeah, Halo was the ish.
So Mass Effect 3 was the first in the series to have multiplayer. It was a bit controversial because it never had multiplayer before, and it was during a day when it seemed like every AAA game had to have multiplayer. So people were sort of afraid that it would taint really good single-player games. And furthermore, people were upset because you had to play a certain amount of the multiplayer in order to get the best ending in the game. Because there's without getting into any spoiler material, you could tell in the single player like how well the war was going, and the multiplayer was like other parts of the war. So if you playing in the other parts of the war and doing well would push where the war was headed in the single.
I like that. I actually like that.
That was a good concept, right? It wasn't necessary, but it was necessary for the best ending, right?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
To do well enough in the game. And so people were, I don't know if surprised or not surprised to see that multiplayer is back from Mass Effect 4. It seems in many ways similar to what they did in Mass Effect 3, in other ways new and different. And we just want to kind of discuss our impressions, whether we expect to play the multiplayer, how much the multiplayer has factored into our purchase of Mass Effect Andromeda or not. And Chris, let's start with you. Like, what was your first, what do you think about the multiplayer and what we've learned about it in Andromeda?
I kind of didn't care when I first heard about it, to be honest. Because I was going to buy the game regardless.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to buy it for the story. And
Right.
Mass Effect's always had great story, so.
Yeah.
Are you going to play the multiplayer?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. It looks enjoyable.
Yeah. All reports of it seem like it's pretty fast. It's basically, everybody's reporting a horde mode, essentially, right? That it's you and other players against non-playable creatures and people in waves. There's some... I'm a little unclear about this, but from the reports I've read, it seems like it's very mission-based, and that there are missions you don't have to do. You can send other NPC teams to do, and they will gain experience and upgrade as they complete their missions. Do you remember? Does that sound right to you, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I remember actually in Mass Effect 3 they had a system like that, but not for the multiplayer, but in the single-player game. Do you remember this, Chris? You could... Wait, was it Mass Effect 3? It might have been Mass Effect 2, the DLC, the Shadow Broker. I can't remember now. But somewhere in either the Shadow Broker or Mass Effect 3, there are special perks you could get if you sent out people to do some missions. And it was like really, really side perks. And I think that was the Shadow Broker, actually. Now I have to go back and look. So it seems like they're bringing that system in more fully into this multiplayer situation. It seems like there's a lot more customization than in the previous games, like both for how the character looks, but also the race, the alien race of the character.
Yeah, pretty cool looking skill tree.
Yeah, skill trees, a lot of weapons. Weapons you'll remember from the games, and it seems like even newer weapons than that. What's the most exciting thing from the multiplayer for you, Chris?
I just like how quick it moved. It looks like it'll be fun. It looks like there's a lot of ways to approach a situation, which I like. I like having options. So I think that helps tactical players who are people like us who have gotten a little older and a little slower. So we have more options other than just trying to rely on our twitch reflexes.
Yeah. Now, like I said, Chris and I are longtime players of Mass Effect. Josh here, I don't think you've played any, right? Not for lack of trying on my part. I always try to get you to play Mass Effect, right?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, why this is even a big deal. Is this? It seems to me this only is a big deal because it's not something that's an initial part of the series. But it didn't look like any different than like some of the stuff that I've seen out of like Titanfall. Or
You're talking about the multiplayer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about like the general setup, the screen, skill tree, the customizable options. It doesn't look like it's doing anything that makes me go, "That's unique" or "That's worthy of me getting excited about." It looks like every other multiplayer franchise game.
Well, first and foremost, I think the fans of the series would say that that it's the story and the characters that make the series as important as it is. But as far as the multiplayer goes, in Mass Effect 3, it really was something that happened to be good, but was tacked on. With Andromeda, it looks like they're really trying to not just tack on something, but advance upon it. Maybe bring it up to speed with other games.
So the rebuttal to that would be it's their first full-blown attempt at creating something valuable.
Yeah,
okay.
And I think part of why the multiplayer was pretty successful in Mass Effect 3 was because people just didn't want the game to end.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like the story ends, no spoilers, and you just want to be in that world more, seeing those characters more.
What was the general reaction to having to play the multiplayer to get the best ending? Was that kind of split?
I think a lot of people did not like that at the time.
Okay,
especially leading up to release.
I actually like that. I think that's a good way to get your multiplayer. Like, that's unique to me, and that would make me go, yeah, I'll buy that just to see what that looks like.
I was upset when I heard about it.
Yeah.
But when I actually played the multiplayer and realized that I really enjoyed it, then I immediately was okay. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I would say that as far as like archiving goes, the problem is if you play the game now, there's not going to be a multiplayer scene for Mass Effect 3, so it's almost like you've locked away the best endings.
Yeah.
Of course, if they ever do like a re-release, they'll probably patch that in such a way that you won't need the multiplayer like you used to, or they'll maybe just give you the points up front.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at first I have to say I was a little outraged, right? The purist in me was outraged, but when it turned out that the multiplayer was a lot of fun, I was immediately okay with it.
Yeah, from the footage, I really liked the booster pack. I thought that was pretty rad.
Yeah, that's something that's different. Both Mass Effect, the main games, and the multiplayer Mass Effect 3, there was no verticality. It was just running, maybe upstairs, maybe up some ladders, but for the most part, running, right? And this really seems to put a booster pack element into it where you have a short flight, both for sort of scaling.
Well, it's kind of like Halo Reach's jetpack.
Yeah. I think that's why
you can do a bit with it, but you can't fly all around the whole time.
It's like they took the best parts of predecessors and they're trying to put it into like a full scale. Which, I mean, it seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Mass Effect, every game series has to choose where it's going to push the envelope and where it's going to catch up. Mass Effect pushes the envelope in storytelling for the most part.
And that's fair.
So the multiplayer is going to be catching up. It's going to be taking on what Titanfall has done, what Call of Duties have done, what Battlefields have done, what Halos have done.
Are they the kind of company that will like hide an Easter egg in the multiplayer game, like, or some really cool feature that they don't tell you about, and then you see it and you're like, oh my gosh?
That's hard to know because this is the first Mass Effect entry for this developer. That it switched hands. It's the same publisher. It's the same overall developer, but the actual team changed. It was originally, what was it? It was Bioware. Montreal. No. Anyways, it's still Bioware, but it's a different set of offices in Bioware taking care of this game. So I don't know much about this particular segment of BioWare. I think we're all wondering if ultimately when we get this game into our hands, whether they're going to honor the series or not. I hope it does.
Yeah.
Something that I'm also liking the fact that what I like about horde modes particularly is I'm not a fan, honestly, of fighting other real players in multiplayer because I don't have the time nor the desire to get good.
Sure.
Right? And even if I did practice, I'll never live up to the 13-year-old kids who have all the time in the world to get excellent at their multiplayer games. And so the reason why I don't often play like your Battlefields or your Call of Duties, which put so much emphasis in their multiplayer systems, is that I can't enjoy dying repeatedly with making little progress.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's nice about a multiplayer that's based on a horde mode is you're working together with those great players to achieve goals.
Yeah. That's perfect for somebody in your spot.
Right, it's perfect. Chris, do you think Do you think you'll touch the multiplayer before you beat the game?
Unless you have to.
No, it's always fun to jump on multiplayer really early.
Yeah.
Right, before everybody knows the maps real well, and it's a very even playing
Before Camping
field.
Carl comes and just ruins everything.
And you don't have the guys that have all the upgrades yet, and so everything's real even.
Yeah.
And so I might grab it and then play the multiplayer for like an hour first.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I'll see.
Okay. From what you've seen, Josh, do you think this is actually an entry in the series you can jump into? Do you think you'll actually play this?
If it's the same idea, if the multiplayer affects the ending of the story, yeah, I would play it.
All
Just because
right,
I've never
all right.
played a game that's done that before, that forces you into that hint, and so that's unique enough for me to go, yeah, I'd buy that, or I'd wait for you to buy that and then play it.
Well, Mass Effect is a day one purchase for me, but I have to admit, I'm still nervous about it. I'm hoping that Mass Effect Andromeda turns out to be a wonderful game.
Sold!
But I can't tell yet. Can you tell, Chris?
No, of course not. And
Yeah.
we'll know once we.
It's
have
okay.
it.
I'll tell both of you. It's gonna be sick with it.
So I guess
Sick
I'm
with
going console. I just looked up the recommended minimum PC specs for
Yeah.
this. GTX 1060.
Ooh.
If you want
For minimum?
for recommended for
Yikes.
30 frames per second at 1080.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you need a pretty hefty PC to play this
Yeah.
on the PC.
Minimum requirements: i5 for Intel, AMD FX 6350, 8 gigabytes of RAM, GTX 660 with 2 gigabytes of VRAM, or Radeon 7750 with 2
So
gigabytes.
can the MacBook Pro play it? Asking for a friend.
And that's to
No.
That's to get 30 frames per second on low settings.
Dang, dude.
Huh. Okay.
So this
Xbox
is gonna be
One
a,
it is.
This is gonna be a big one, kiddos.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've had a pretty good discussion about this, and look out for the news of the week, and where we're going to be discussing all kinds of interesting things, including Destiny 2 and Borderlands 3. And look out for the game of the week, which I'm still not going to announce. So have a great day. Look to the description for all of our information, and like, subscribe, and share if you would.
Yeah.